Welcome to Morning Message for June the 20th. A little bit of a series that I've had going with these morning messages have been some of my favorite verses of Scripture. This is actually too many Scripture verses for me to kind of quote all at once. One of my favorite things that happens in Scripture is something that I resonate with a little bit, and that is the call of Moses. What I particularly like about the call of Moses is the excuses he comes up with. You know, he has a brother who's more eloquent in terms of speaking, better looking, and all that kind of stuff. I kind of resonate with that because much of my journey towards the priesthood had to do with me coming up with excuses as to why I shouldn't or couldn't do this ministry. In fact, I often describe that journey as kind of sliding into it. You know, I'm trying to get up a hill of loose dirt and gravel, and I keep sliding down towards it. As much as I try to get away from ordination, I keep sliding towards it. All the barriers that I put up for myself somehow got removed, and I ended up getting ordained. I don't want to sound flippant when I say that, because the journey, of course, was a little bit more complicated than that. But that's sometimes how it feels, that I was trying to avoid it and putting up barriers, and those barriers kept getting removed. Kind of like Moses, you know, he comes up with all sorts of excuses. There's reasons that he doesn't want to do it, but he ends up doing the things that he's called to do anyway, and some incredible things as well. I'm not Moses. None of us are Moses. None of us are called to that particular ministry that Moses has, but all of us are called to be children of God and to respond to that call joyfully, willingly, perhaps even unwillingly at times. But it's a joyful thing to do, to respond to that call that God gives us. But today I want to think about that moment when we realize that Moses isn't going to get to the promised land. He doesn't make it. One can't help but think of a famous speech that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King gave shortly before he was shot, in which he said he is not going to get there with everyone else. The things that he's trying to accomplish won't be accomplished in his lifetime. Some people took that to mean that he realized that he was probably going to be assassinated. I doubt that that's true. I think it's probably more true that he had a realization that the kinds of changes that he wanted to make were changes that would require an effort that would go beyond one particular generation. And as I think about the things that are going on in the world today, I was at that walk for healing for Indigenous people yesterday. I was on the Black Lives Matter march as well a couple of weeks ago. And what we're trying to do, of course, is address the kinds of prejudice that exists all across society. It's not just police forces, it's all across society. And the kinds of changes that we're hoping to make, the kinds of changes that I'd like to see made, along with a lot of other people, are changes that will require generations to do. We need to put in place the right things that allow real change to take place. And it might require us to do something that is going to benefit the world long after we're gone. But we need to put those things in place now. That's part of what it means to accept the call. Moses didn't get to see the promised land. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Didn't get to see the changes that he was trying to achieve. And maybe none of us will get to see the kinds of changes that need to happen in the world. But that doesn't mean we give up. That doesn't mean we stop. That doesn't mean we don't put into place the things that need to happen for those real changes to happen in this world for the next generation. That's where it's going to really matter as well. So we do what we can to improve things right now, but realizing that the ultimate change that we're trying to achieve is something in the future. We're called to something better. We're called to be better. We're called to do better. God bless. Amen.